Welcome to Money RX for CRNAs and nurse practitioners. I'm Brett Fellows, certified financial planner, and today, Amanda K. Kelly, CRNA, is back. She was on this show back in May of 2024 when she had just made the jump from W-2 to full 1099 practice, and we talked about S-corp strategy, S-corp distributions, FICA savings, and even how she had to convince her husband it was all going to work. It was actually one of the most listened to episodes we have done. Now, a lot has happened since then. Her coaching business has grown, her podcast has grown, and she has been fully independent for over a year now. And so I wanted to bring her back, not of course to cover old ground, but to hear what she actually learned once the theory met reality. Amanda, welcome back.
Thank you so much. I was so excited when you wanted to have me back.
Well, you're one of our favorites. We're happy to have you. So when we last talked, Amanda, you were just a few months, we actually looked up the date, going into fully 1099, and you were figuring out, I think, invoicing on Evernote, and you were still working out all the financial systems. I guess, where are you now more than a year later?
Yeah. So I actually have not upgraded to anything fancy as far as that goes. I thought about it, but I do. I have everything in Evernote. I do my own bookkeeping. I kind of just have a system of, the place I work, the hours worked, all that good stuff. And I just keep it in there. My accountant actually runs a payroll. So every month I've got set taxes and set money that comes out. So I know what I pay myself because I feel like that first year, first of all, that's why I asked you when we recorded, because 2024 was not an easy year. So that year was just, it was a year of survival, and it was a year of just doing the best I could with 1099 and doing that. So being able to clean it up 2025 and into now, it's like I got payroll gets ran through. Um, it just works. You know what I mean? It's a little extra work maybe, but I'm so glad I did it. It's great. I just have to keep a tight calendar.
Gotcha. So what surprised you the most about full independence once that kind of novelty wore off? What made it so hard? Was it the financial piece specifically?
I think it was just, you almost feel like you're jumping from a safety net, but you're not. I think we're so built up, like you got to get a W-2, you got to get a W-2, you got to get that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just in the water that's what we should do. And so I felt almost a little guilty of like jumping into the unknown. Really, if you have connections, I think if you work to be a competent provider, if you are just good people skills, good organization skills, you can make anything work. And so I think it just worked. I'm able to build my own schedule. I will definitely say there's been some lulls. Like there's been a couple moments when I'm like, eat, you know what I mean? Things got a little tight. I lost a hospital contract. Things have shifted. The market has shifted immensely since last we talked. Things have kind of leveled out a little bit. And there was maybe a little bit of panic, but I always have just seemed to find you always keep your eyes open. You're always looking. You're always keeping the lines of communication open. You're always kind of watching the needs. And right now, I feel like the needs are just ever shifting. There's a lot of takeovers. There's a lot of, groups changing over. I don't even want to say turmoil, but there's a lot of shaking up, I think, in the anesthesia world right now as far as jobs. So as long as you just keep your eye on that and you're watching that and you can move and groove with it and you're smart with your money, you'll be fine. I don't regret anything. I'm so glad I did it.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. So along those lines, your most trusted advisor, your husband, was pretty nervous about the income variability going into that. Has it gotten easier, or is that still a tension that you guys manage?
No, it's actually gotten, yes, my husband is in finance and he is very, I'm like, there's always in the relationship, there's always the free kind of crazy one. And then there's always the one that's like, let's keep our feet kind of on the ground. And he's that one. He's a numbers man. The math has to math. And I'm like, if it doesn't math, it's fine. Let's just live. And he's like, eh. But I will have to say, I actually almost had to go back to W 2 because of some things that are happening in our life right now. And he literally said to me
Mm.
like a week ago, he was like, no, he's like, I do not want you to go back to W 2. I know you
I'm
love
not
this. It
interested.
is working. He was like, he's like last ditch effort if we have to do it. But he's like, I am not going to ask you to go back. Keep doing what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I mean, even
Wow.
just within a
Oh,
week, I
that's
think
different.
he sees. And I think it's just, he's very much used to, he wanted to see every 2 weeks you're getting paid this every two, because that's what it was. Every 2 weeks I was getting a pretty similar paycheck when I was W 2. And then I would get
Hmm.
these just fill in money coming out of nowhere, when I picked up random shifts to going 1099. I mean, sometimes I don't get paid regularly. And so that's what freaks him out is the money. You know what I mean? He just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So now it's really just, I mean, again, in
Yes.
marriage, it's communication. So now it's just asking me, hey, what are you expecting to come in this month? And I kind of have a baseline number that
Hmm.
I never like to go under. And so I'm always like, worst case scenario, I will
Okay.
always be bringing in this much. And so as long as he knows that, he can
Gotcha.
budget and plan and play with stuff. So yeah, I mean, there was
Yeah,
definitely
makes
some
sense.
frustrating conversations and but it's been a year and a half now and I think he's just accepted it. I love it.
Great. That's wonderful.
Hmm.
What would you say, Amanda, you got wrong in that first year that you have since corrected?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would definitely say really like the tax, like not understanding write-offs, not understanding payroll. Man, I would say that was probably, am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough?
Mm.
Continue, like just really not understanding the S-corp and really, what does that look like? What does it mean to give yourself a salary? Where to kind of place the money, whether it goes into a retirement account, whether it goes for something for my kids. So I think that was a little
Yeah.
overwhelming at first, but you just have to kind of pick a couple strategies, do
Hmm.
them. Pick a couple strategies, do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you can't overwhelm yourself. It's like with CRNA school with anything. It looks so overwhelming. But if you just chunk it out, try a couple
Yeah.
strategies, see how it works, it's fine. And then you have to just figure it
Yeah.
out as you go. Like at some point, you have to jump into the water
Yep.
and you have to flap your arms and your legs and you got to just swim. And the current will take you and you got to just be able
Yep.
to figure it out. And that's, what I tell people I coach all the time is you
Yeah.
just lean into the process and trust that you have the capabilities and the resourcefulness to figure it out. And that's kind of just
Hmm.
what I did.
And I remember from an income standpoint, like how much comes into the house, you were kind of targeting 13 to 15 shifts a month back then. Is that
Yeah.
still the benchmark, or what does a realistic income range look like for a
Yeah.
fully independent CRNA in your market?
Yeah. So I'm in the Midwest in the Chicago. I'm in suburbia in the Midwest here. I would say now, I know in 2024, because of life, I did not work a ton. I was probably working 2 to 3 shifts a week. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So we'll say about 12 a month, I would say I was doing. Now, honestly, I probably work 4 to 5 days a week. And I don't mind
Okay.
it because I'm usually off fairly early for the most part. I do a lot of surgery centers or I get off a little early. But I would say I don't do a lot of call. I was doing a lot of call before. I've really taken out the call aspect. But I would say I probably work like 15 to 20 shifts, I would say a month. Like I would say I definitely upped
Wow.
that a
Okay.
little more. We got an au pair,
Okay.
so that has been super helpful.
Mhm.
I have a kid in kindergarten now, and then I have like the 2 year old. And so my big thing is as long as I am home in the evenings, I'm good. As long as I can have those evenings with
Mhm.
them and that work during the day, it works for me right now. I also picked up a locum job in Indiana. So I actually once a month I go to
Okay.
Indiana. I stay there for about 3 nights. I work, 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 stack my hours. I work like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I pick up beeper call. I do long shifts. And then I come home, work at a plastics office on Thursdays, and then I'm off. I take a 4 day weekend. So I kind of work it like that. You know what
Wow.
I mean? Like I kind of just
Yeah.
I work maybe like 3 weeks solid, and then I go to Indiana, and then I just take a chunk of days off and chill for a little bit and go back at it. And then I would say, man,
Got it.
salary. I mean, I feel like when I started, it was almost like, I don't know, 13, 15,000 a month to 20,000 and beyond, depending on, so
Mhm.
you can really.
Okay. So back to kind of now that you've been an S-corp for a year and a half, salary you mentioned, and there's this whole reasonable salary, and you and I have talked about your tax return. We've looked at it together, which we'll talk about at the end. But I know this idea of for an S corp, how much do you go W-2 versus how much do you distribute via profit? Now that you've been running this, has your approach changed to salary versus distributions?
I think so. I think like 2024, it was just about, I just actually needed the income, to be honest with you. Things were just crazy. And I just kind of, I wasn't really being strategic with it. I just needed to make a little money. I needed to do this. Now I would say 2025, I really started thinking about distributions. Where can my money go? Whether it be HSA, whether it be a SEP, whether it be my kids' Roths, like that was more 2025 is like, okay, how much money do I want to take and chunk out elsewhere? How much do I want to have for the house? And then how much do we want to put away? So I think I really have started to
Yeah.
become more strategic with where is the money actually going versus just having a
Mm.
salary and just, I mean, I'm sure you guys know, just like, where does the money go, right?
Yeah.
Gas, eggs,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so I would say it's been very much more about working with, my finance people and stuff, trying to just figure out what is the smartest way for the money to go and to grow. I've been much more taking
Right.
more of a less salary, but distributing more,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And then it helps with the
And that's
tax
why I
burden.
frankly, that's why, Amanda, I like having you on. I mean, you get this stuff, you like it. You talk with your financial person, you talk with your accountant. So you can have these conversations, which is why I wanted to have this conversation with you. And so things like you've learned about QBI deduction and FICA and SEP contributions. I don't know if you know this answer, but other CRNAs you talk to, or do you think that in practice CRNAs are actually capturing these benefits, or do you think that they leave them on the table?
I think a lot is left on the table. I think there's more people, thanks to you, that are opening the conversation and are getting stuff out there. And I think you do it very intentionally, which is really good. But I
Mm,
really do think there's a lot to be left on the table. 100%. I don't think we're
yeah.
doing as good a job as we could be, whether it's just
Mm,
fear, whether it's like you just don't know. I know finding a financial person you can trust. I know that's a big thing with people too. So I think a lot of CRNAs from the threads and things I see, I think everyone's really hungry for how do I do it. But then again, I think we get overwhelmed
mm,
with all the things we can do that people aren't doing anything. 'Cause and then we can do
yeah.
investments, we can do this. I just think it gets too overwhelming. So it's like, yeah, I'll just deal with that later,
Yeah.
and then it just never gets, and
Yeah.
then you've got money that's not growing, that's not working for you and with you.
Yeah. I'm just curious on these threads, is there one financial mistake that you see CRNAs making or talking about when they go 1099 more than others?
I think I think it's just the tax stuff. I think it always comes down to
Mm,
are we doing enough deductions? Are we capturing enough
yeah.
things? Are we keeping good enough? I mean, I think constantly there's a lot of questions about like what do you guys deduct? How do you keep track of your deductions?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things people struggle with is are you really, or then it's you get the
Yeah.
tax time and it's like I don't even have time to go through all this stuff. You know what I mean? Then you're like going back through your
Yeah.
bank account. You don't keep receipts. You got to go find all your
Mm,
receipts in your emails. And I think a lot of people are just like, who has time for that? You know what I mean? And so that's
yeah.
why
Yeah.
I also really developed a system in my Evernote of like, okay, I bought a stethoscope in this month. So I know kind of when to look for receipts, where to do it, or put them in a folder. So I've started to keep better notes of like,
Mm,
when I took ACLS, writing that off. Because I think again, it's like we don't keep track of this stuff. Like we're anesthesia providers. You know what I mean? Like we're not like
mm,
email, like
yeah.
this is just not our forte. Like we give
Yeah.
anesthesia. And so
Yeah.
I think really the organization, the bookkeeping, that part I do. I think that's where people keep money gets, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of money probably not being
Hmm.
used properly or not getting deducted simply because it's like,
Amanda, I'd love to hear your answer on this. We get a lot of questions from nurses who have been in been working for 20 years, maybe 25 years. They could be in their 40s or early 50s, and now they're thinking of making the 1099 switch.
Mhm.
So, what, in your opinion, is the honest financial case for or against it at that stage of their career?
Yeah. Man, well, I'm just of the mindset of like it's never too late. Like you can always live, you can, you know what I mean? I will always push people like, listen, if this is something you want to do it, figure it out, make it happen. So
Mm,
that's just my number one. If it, if it makes sense, if it seems a little crazy, that doesn't always mean it's wrong, by any means. I will say I probably made the most money as a CRNA last year being full 1099 and having really the ability to work. I didn't have the home kind of burdens I had before. So I would say do it. I would say again, make sure
yeah.
that you plan where you want your money to go. Plan how much of your salary you want to have. Plan where you want, distributions and things to go. But I would definitely say do it. Like why not? Like why not build your own schedule, meet new people, be flexible. I'm always for people going for things. If you have that little inkling in
Yeah.
yourself, give it a try. Go do it. And again, W 2
Yeah.
will always be waiting for you.
Always be
It,
there. I
it
love it.
really will be
Yeah.
waiting for you.
I'd love to hear about your coaching business. So, how has that evolved since we last spoke? I think you were mentioning then bringing on a business partner, maybe, or building out the boards and beyond program. Where's all that sit today for you?
Yeah. So now I'm really currently focused on my coaching program for those who are in CRNA school. I'm actually in the middle of changing that entire program. So I'm going to be having
Oh, wow.
yes. So I can't give too many details away yet, but I am changing all of it.
Okay.
I am pioneering something new. So it's going to be crazy and exciting. And I will be doing a CRNA boot camp coming. I keep alluding to the CRNA boot
Very
camp
cool.
is coming up. I just finished a bodybuilding show and I really, you know what I mean? Building a body is very similar to building our brains and our, like it's kind of
That's
the
right.
same processes. So I have that coming up. That's going to be like a whole new thing. And I really am looking for people in CRNA school that want to build, that want to pioneer, that want to do big things while they're going through the program. So that will be coming shortly. But those are
Yeah.
kind of what I'm focusing on. I've still been doing mock interviews, coaching people. I'm getting certified as a coach. So I'm working on that right now as well.
Great.
And that's been nice because with the 1099 schedule on Thursdays, I have a gig and I'm like, I have to be done by 1 because I have to sit, I have 2.5 hours of my certification calls. So it's you
Yeah.
can do that type of thing when you're 1099. You have relationships with people. Hey, I have to get out and do this. Can we set a time? Can we start early? And they accommodate. They're amazing. They accommodate my schedule. They work with me.
Yeah.
I also work with them. So yeah, so that's what's going on. So I don't know if I'm going to launch summer or fall, but big things are coming as far as coaching goes. So I'm
Okay.
really excited.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind you're talking to a coach advisor who's a nerd about finances. So my brain always goes, so now you've got these two income streams, the clinical CRNA work and the coaching business. What does that look like for you from a tax and entity structure wise? Are you running them both through the same umbrella company or are they running separate?
Yeah, so I did talk to my accountant. I'm actually running them all through the S-corp, like running them all through my anesthesia business. However, I am thinking of maybe next year pulling them out. And because I'm really thinking of
Okay.
now that I'm kind of creating something new, I think I actually might make a whole separate LLC for the Mindful CRNA. And then therefore they will be, because again, you guys, the government loves when you own businesses. The government rewards
Mhm.
business owning. So that's how you get,
Yeah.
really good deductions and tax breaks and things like that. So I really do think I'm actually going to probably form an LLC with that. I'm going to do some trademarking, some copywriting, do all of those kinds of things. And then again, I'm just going to have those dual write-offs for both. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I think that'll be even
Hmm.
more to my financial benefit to
Hmm.
to have both
Hmm.
businesses and then run
Uh,
through them.
so a lot of CRNAs, you and I probably both know, have ideas or building something on the side, coaching or courses or content. A lot more in the nurse practitioner side. I guess what is the honest financial picture of what it takes to actually get something like that off the ground, coaching and courses, etc.?
Coaching and courses, I would say, is not too heavy of a financial load. I think we try to make it like we have to get certified. We have to get all of this knowledge first. I think that's the biggest mistake people make is sitting 2 years searching for knowledge, paying for things, and never building anything. I know I made that mistake.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually getting certified now. Like I've been coaching, I've been getting experience. Again, I've been learning the whole time, but I'm getting certified 5 years
Yep.
later because I just decided to finally I decided to jump in and build it. So I would say the first thing, you
Mm-hmm.
don't need as much knowledge as you think you do. Like start building it. Like
Mm.
get what you need as far as what kind of education do I need? Pick one kind of platform, learn it. Pick a platform. Thinkific, Teachable, Kajabi, pick a platform, learn how to use it, plug yourself into it. There's so many.
Yep.
Circle, I think, is another one people are using. So pick your platform. If
Yep.
you don't like it, you can change it later. Find a way for people to pay you, Stripe or something, or a lot of them have it built in, right? So you got to be able to have a
Right.
platform, your calendar, there's Calendly, there's that other one out there people use, a way to schedule
Yep.
things, a way to get paid, a way to put your stuff out there and do it and just build it and just see what happens. So with those kind of things, there's not a huge amount of overhead. I mean, you need a good laptop. You need to kind of getting those
Mm-hmm.
monthly, I would say those monthly fees for some of these platforms to host your courses or your coaching or that can be, 100 to 300 a month or so, just depending. I would say
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely probably to look at my tax numbers again, but I think for that kind of business to run those things, maybe about 500 a month I'm paying for certain subscriptions and things to do that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then I think for, there's tons of aesthetics businesses, there's tons of network marketing stuff, so it kind of just depends. But I guess my
Yeah.
biggest thing is don't think that you got to invest something, obviously, in anything. You got to invest some kind of money, but
Yep.
don't get sucked down the rabbit hole where you just keep spending, investing, and sucking in information and not doing anything with it. Because number one,
Yeah.
the only way you're ever going to
Yeah.
be successful in any business if you go to the people, if you meet the people with what they need, if you talk to the people, if you're in their world, if you're posting, if you're connecting, if whatever it may be, don't negate that part of the business. But
Mm.
set aside,
Mm.
I would always say for anything, set aside maybe a few $1,000s to get yourself up and going, and then just go. Just stop hoarding information and
Yeah.
go out there and connect with people for sure. That's how you
Yeah.
grow and build a business.
And at what point, Amanda, did the coaching business kind of go from a hobby income maybe for you to something that you could actually plan around more
Yeah.
financially?
I would probably say a couple years ago when I started, man, the coaching program that I'm going to be changing, I think I've been doing that since about 2022. Crazy. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost been about 4 years now I've been doing that for. I would say, I would honestly say in the last couple years where I really got serious about
Yeah.
coaching, I really saw the value of coaching because coaching is, again, it's kind of an unregulated industry. And so I think with any
Mm.
profession, you have great coaches, you have not great coaches. You have information out there that's not great.
Yeah.
With any profession, there's great doctors, there's,
Yeah.
it with anything. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think once I really saw the value, the transformation, the benefit of coaching, I've had multiple coaches, parenting coaches, marriage coaches, business coaches. When I saw the change in my life, and then when I saw what I could give to other people, that's when I'm like, I am taking this seriously and I believe in this and I am running with it. And I don't care who thinks I'm crazy. I believe in this vehicle. I'm going for it. And so I think when I
Yeah.
really made that shift in the last couple years, that's when obviously everything changed, right? Because I was like, I'm really taking this seriously and I love this. And that's when I was like, okay,
Very
now we
cool.
can, and then I kind of have that money actually in a separate account, away from everything, and that's just kind of there for for savings for vacations. I give scholarships away, or I give my it's kind of like my donation fund.
Oh,
Like I'll use a lot of that money for my
yeah.
business and I'll donate to different causes. If I want to splurge on something, maybe that, but it's just kind of nice that I have that there. But a lot of, honestly, if
Mm.
I'm being honest, guys, a lot of the money I make from coaching I pour into donations and volunteer work and things like that, to be honest.
That's wonderful.
Couple treats
Wow,
here and
that's
there, but
wonderful.
yeah, I mean, giving back, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
So let's change gears a little bit. Tell me about the new breed of CRNAs. So you work with aspiring CRNAs every day. Are the new CRNAs coming into the field thinking about money differently than those who came up a decade ago?
Oh,
How
that's a
has
good
the
question.
industry changed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of them are thinking, they are really forward thinking about the jobs. Like there's so many that are just getting started or haven't even started their CRNA journey yet, and they're already thinking about, yeah, the jobs they're going to get and where they're going to work and is the market going to be trading this. So I feel like they're very much focused on the end game and what that's going to, I
Yeah.
think, look like for them. I know there's a lot of stress about the, nursing not being recognized as a professional degree and not giving the,
Yeah.
the financial aid top tier stuff. So I know that's been a lot of nerve wracking and
Yeah.
has caused people to pause. I mean, some people are like, I don't care. I'm going to get it done or I'm going to figure it out. And other people,
Mm,
it's disappointing and it's really caused them to pause. So I do think that's a concern. But I also
mhm.
like to tell them too is, money comes and goes. It really does. Money can be made. You have a very necessary skill set. And I personally, I just believe in business and helping people and, doing things. So I'm always like, you can always figure it out. But I definitely think people are thinking a little bit more about money than they ever have. Am I going to work? What's
Yeah.
my salary going to
Yeah.
be? What are my loans going to be? How am I going to pay them off? What is that going to look like? Am I going to be able to
Right.
live? So I think that's very much like in the through point right now, where I don't think there was as much, there
Yeah.
was concern about it, but not like there is now, for sure.
That makes sense. How about the other side of it in terms of, I think back in 2024, the independent market was described as hot. From where you
Oh,
sit in 2026, has that cooled? What are you seeing in terms of rates and opportunities for independent CRNAs
yeah,
now?
yeah. 2024, it was hot. Like, I mean, I can't even, I mean, literally, I don't even know like a 200% increase from when I started in doing kind of 1099 on the
Mm,
side in 20, oh my God, 20, like 18, 2019. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, it was crazy in 2024, and we all knew it wasn't going to last. We all looked at each other. We're like, let's get this money because we don't know when it's going to last. So we all worked. We were
yeah.
like, hey, come over here, do this, and then I would definitely say we've hit this kind of, and again too, when schools are coming out with a bunch of new grads, the rates also drop as well, and so we just have to kind of ride it out. But I would definitely say like they're just kind of, I mean, because they went like this. And so now I think they're just like, we're just here. Like we're kind of just coasting. The rates are not bad by
Hmm.
any means, but we were just seeing such a steep increase. It was insane. So I would say the rates have kind of leveled. Like they've just kind of leveled. They're not terrible. They've leveled. I would say there's still plenty of work out there. I do know there's some, I mean, there are some hospitals that have actually, they're pretty fully staffed. I mean, there are places that are fully
Mm,
staffed. They've got their, people, whatever. And there's other ones that are shaky. There's just always going to be a need. And even I've gotten a couple
yeah.
calls, hey, emergency need here, right? People have babies, people get sick, things happen. It's life. And there's always going to be a need for 1099 providers for sure. And even January, I'd say January of this year, January, February, it was very kind of slow. Even May's been a
Hmm.
little slow for me. Like I've been canceled
Hmm.
actually at a couple of my surgery centers. So that's another thing, being sure you have
Okay.
cancellation policies in place with people. They have to cancel you within this certain time frame, or they have to give you half of your salary. You can't cancel me the night before. You have to pay. So you have to kind of think of those things as well. Um, or
Right.
it's always nice to have a hospital where you can always pick up. So if you get canceled over here, you're like,
Hmm.
hey, can I pop in tomorrow? Do you guys need help? So again, it's just about having
Hmm.
really building the right pool of places around you is really, I think, kind of the key,
Okay.
is being able to have, a couple really busy places, this, like just really having a good network of places where you do have kind of a safe bubble to always have work in. Because it was a little, there's
Gotcha.
been a couple pockets where it was a little rough. And I ended up finding this Indiana job.
Yeah.
And then I probably spent all last fall in Indiana working because I lost a
Yeah.
big hospital contract and kind of just hit a lull. And so I picked up a contract in Indiana and I'm glad I did. It's been amazing.
Okay. That's good feedback. And I think Yeah, there's a lot of talk about scope of practice battles and the future of anesthesia providers. I'm always wondering, like from a financial planning standpoint, is there anything CRNAs should be doing to protect themselves if the market shifts?
Yeah.
And what you said about protecting your income, obviously,
Mhm.
is one way to do that. Is there anything else on the personal side that you might think about, even from what you've experienced the last three
Well,
months?
I just think too
I
your
shouldn't say
skill
three
set,
months,
6 months,
6 months.
yeah. Your skill set. I really would say your skill set. There have been a lot of. I've always kind of made sure to always have a hand in OB. Don't love OB, and a lot of people love it. It's just it's okay. I'll do it. I don't have a huge passion for it, but I love that other people do because I'm like, yes, this is why we have all these providers. But I do enjoy putting an epidural. I do enjoy some of it. So I always like to have a little bit of OB. I like to be able to do blocks, be able to have places where I could do blocks
Uh-huh.
at. And I like to have a hospital experience. I'm still getting high acuity experience, my blocks and my OB. And I would say one of the surgery, like one of the groups I work with, there was a lot of CRNAs who had never done blocks. No big deal. They went to a block course. I helped teach some of them. I've honestly been learning a couple blocks I'm not familiar with too. But I would say the more you have, a strong skill set, the better. I wouldn't say like it's easier to get a job because if something pops up in OB and you need a job,
Okay.
then you can be able to take that. I don't really do much
Yeah.
cardiothoracic anymore, but I told somebody I've done enough where if I had to do it, I really feel comfortable I could safely do it. I could do it. So I would really say your skill set, your education. I'm going to be
Mhm.
going to a block course next year, even though I do tons of blocks. I still think I could be better. I think I could learn. You know what I mean? Like I never want to just,
Mhm.
oh, I'm just comfortable as a CRNA. I'm good. Like I just don't want to get like that. I want to
Mhm.
always be, how can I improve? How can I be better? What's the latest techniques? And I think if you just keep doing that your whole career and be curious, like you'll be able to get a job anywhere because some of the places they do,
Yeah.
between you and someone else, they need somebody that does blocks. They're going to take this person. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing I would say is to stay on top.
Let's pick on your skill sets a little bit. You said in our first conversation you were terrible with money early on. So, what does your financial life look like now compared to where you were when you started as a CRNA? There's a skill
Yeah.
set you've developed.
Yes, yes, yes. You're right. I have. It's much better. I mean, obviously, throw marriage and kids in the mix. You definitely have to be a little smarter with money. I definitely
Hmm.
try. I mean, one of like the little silly things I do is if I'm shopping for stuff or anything like that, I leave it in my cart for at least 24 to 48 hours. Do I really need this?
Gotcha.
Do I have to have that? What, you
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean? I'm very much
Yeah.
more waiting for sales, like just little things. Before I just wouldn't have cared, whatever. But now I'm like, no, 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 no. I need to be smart with even the smallest decisions. Because again, groceries, it's very expensive out there. And I think me and my husband have really had conversations about getting our savings, like really getting our savings to a
Mhm.
certain level, really talking about realistically how many vacations we want to do a year. I think even just communicating better with my husband about
Yeah.
because we really didn't even talk about it. What is comfortable for you to have in savings? What do you think we need to do? What do you
Mhm.
think we need a month? What do we, because even just having that conversation the other day, what is enough? So I think really
Mhm.
being able to know those numbers, what do you need? What is enough? And I'm big on giving, so I'm never going to not give and do volunteer and things like that. So making sure, I mean, I don't care. I will never not be giving because I feel like that is the only way you will ever be blessed is if you bless others. And so even when I was in
Yes.
CRNA school, I gave money away. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I know I'm going to be fine one day.
That's not easy.
Like, no, I mean, I was like, this is all I
Yeah.
have in my bank, but here you go. Because I knew I was going to be fine. Like, I have house, you know what I mean? And so many people
Yeah.
don't. So I think that's still a big thing. I mean, I think that should be principle number one is give it away, give your time away, bless people, because there's no other choice for you to be blessed. I think that's just that's for me, at least biblical faith. That's the biggest rule, I think, for money. And then again, the 48-hour rule, at least leave it in the cart, see if I really need it,
Hmm. Like
and
it.
and really just looking around my house. What do we need? What do my kids need? Not just buying stuff because it's cute, not just just being more intentional and mindful, right? That's my whole business, is mindful, being more
Yeah.
mindful. And I really just had this epiphany the
Yeah.
other day. If my entire business is about being mindful, And I need to be mindful in all the
Mhm.
areas of my life and really model to the way. And I think that's how I've gotten
Yeah.
much better with my finances, is just making those tiny
Yeah.
little shifts.
I'm interested in, we all have mental mindsets about money. And you, a few years ago, talked about wanting a money machine kind of working in the background. Would you say that you're closer to that now? Or what does that actually look like for you if that's the case?
Yes,
Or is it ever elusive? Is it all, is a money machine?
yeah. I would say, yeah, definitely. I would say I kind of know what's coming in regularly now. I have my, payrolls deducted every month. So I know that that amount is going out. And then yes, I have things for my kids. My husband kind of handles savings. He kind of pulls money over for savings. We use a credit card. We have a credit card that gets cash rewards. So we basically are one of those. We have one of those households. We pay everything, every single thing with a credit card. We pay it off at the end of the month,
Mhm.
and then we have cash at the end of the year, and we use that for Christmas presents. So then we don't have to
Nice.
dip into into the pool or
Yeah.
whatever, so that helps. And we can
Yeah.
kind of have a little extra money at the end of the year that we can save. I have, like I said, my HSA. We've been using that this year, and then you told me about the little investment trick that I'll
Hmm.
be doing that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I think I've got something going on. That
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
place for my
Wonderful.
money to
Love it.
work and go. Yeah.
What about you've also, your boys are now a year and a half older. How has being a mom and having kids kind of changed the way that you think about
Yeah.
money, and whether it's retirement or college or whatever it is you're building towards?
Yeah. So, like I said, I have the two baby Ross, called baby Ross for the boys. We ended up doing this one. No, there's the other one that you can do for college only. Is it the UTMA or something like that? That's just for college. But
Hmm.
we went ahead and went with these Roths, I think, or whatever it's called, for them. So they're going to have that when they're 18. That'll be theirs. And I really
Okay.
think my biggest goal for them is just to teach them like money principles, about saving,
Hmm.
about what's necessary. Even my son's got a whole envelope of gift cards, birthday money, things like
Right.
that. And I don't just want to, like, let's go crazy and do all these things, but really, like, just teach them to give. I'm also very good with my kids. If we
Right.
see people, I try to keep things in my car to, like, give homeless people that you see out. So I really, again, modeling the way,
Okay.
right? So giving, but also
Yeah.
really teaching them that, like, money is earned by very hard work, and the value of a dollar, and that not just spending it on anything, and really teaching them to appreciate what they have
Yeah.
is kind of what I want to do. And you don't
Yeah.
need everything. You don't have to have the coolest things. Really just trying to keep them grounded and keep those principles. But I want them as
Yeah.
teenagers to really, like, hey, what if we saved half, like, really kind of thought about the things that I
Right.
just I just didn't think about, didn't care about. Like, I just was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
That's, crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do with them. I said I have that money saved. My one son he's a model, so he does work. And he's got what's
Oh,
called a
cool.
Coogan trust account. So he has his little money locked
Okay.
away that he will have. And I really just hope
Okay.
I can help them steward their money well when they get access, to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
smart about it, like to
That's
live, but to be.
okay. So that's really good. Let's put your coaching hat on a little further. So if I'm a CRNA and I just graduated today, so I got good income ahead of me, what were three financial moves would you suggest that I do in my first year? What would they be?
Well, I would
You're
first
going to coach me through it.
say, yes, I would first say, um, what do you want your life to look like? You just worked so hard to get here. What is important to you right now? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want in this season? Would be my first thing. What's important to you? And then, based on what they said with that, then let's build out a plan, right? Let's build out a plan of, where are you going to be working at? How much money are you bringing in? And again, based on, we're going to go with
Hmm.
what you want. What is your life season? Are we having kids in this season? Are we traveling in this season?
Right.
Are we just sitting down and chilling in this season? Whatever it is that you
Yeah. I
want.
love the word season.
Yes,
I use that all the
that's it.
time.
I mean,
Yeah. I
that's
love
that's
that.
what life is. None of this is temporary, or none
Yeah.
of this is permanent. You know what I mean? Everything is going to go away. And so I think would be the most important thing I would tell them to focus on. And then based on, because again, my rule is you build your career around your life. Your life first, you build it around. You don't build your life around your career and the machine that we are, kind of feeding. And then
Yeah.
once they've said that, make a plan of, okay, what are we spending? How much again, what is enough? What is enough for you? What do
Yeah.
you need? What does enough
Yeah.
look like? Because we think we just get this
Yeah.
arbitrary, well, I just want $50,000 here and you know what I mean? But what is enough based on what you need, what you want out of this season of life right now? What are your goals 1 year and then 5 years and then 10 years? And like, what are the
Yeah.
baby steps to get there financially? And that's kind of how I would coach them through that. Things to think about is,
Love it.
again, all coaching is doing is revealing yourself to you, is showing you that you know the answers, you have the answers, you are strong enough to figure it out. I'm just here because I see how amazing you are. I see you as a human being, and I'm just here to help pull that out because you already know
Yeah.
and you already have it in you. And that's really what coaching is I think we all at some
Yeah.
degree know what to do, but fears and opinions and the past and that. And that's really just what a coach is just bringing you back to yourself and pulling out greatness and reminding you that it's okay to have what you want to have and do what you want to do in life.
Yeah. So, as we wrap up, Amanda, you were gracious enough to recently go through or participate in our complimentary tax return walkthrough.
Oh, yeah.
Could you? So we looked at we looked at your 2024 personal, your 2025 personal, your 2025 S-corp. Could you just or share a little bit about that experience with our listeners? Kind of what did you expect coming in, and maybe what were some big insights that you took
Yeah.
away or that you found it valuable?
Yeah. So yeah, Brett was so helpful. I think within 2 seconds, he explained more out of my tax return than I ever knew. Took all these, because I was like, you get these like 10-page document. It's just lines and F and money and numbers. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Like, don't know. And literally within seconds, he was like, okay, this means this. This means, and I was like, oh my God, I just learned so much. And like, we just started.
Yeah.
So it was so helpful to actually see what the numbers were. I wanted to really see if my accountant was really doing the best for me. Because again, I had been doing all the
Mhm.
research. I was bringing things to him, hey, I have a question about this. Da, da, da. And it was really nice that you were able to explain it to me in a way that no one's ever explained my tax return. So I would say,
Mhm.
literally, all get your 30-minute tax return. He's gracious enough to give
Mhm.
you a free 30 minutes of his time. And it was so helpful. I mean, even just I'm sure it's probably like when we sit with patients and we'd explain the lab results. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And because they're sitting there like 4.7, you're just sitting with somebody and literally explaining something. Like think about how your patients must feel when we do that for them. That is how I felt when he did that for me because everything just
Mhm.
made sense. It didn't seem so scary. I thought things were going well, but I even just to see the income I was bringing home because I kind of set all these things with my accountant and then I was like, go team. You know what I mean? Like you do your thing, I'll be over here. So it was really nice to just look at that. I was taking notes. I put my notes like in my computer. Uh, so helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, I didn't know all this stuff.
Good.
Yes. Extremely
Great.
valuable.
Great. Well, I'm glad you experienced that, and thank you for taking your time to go through it.
Thank you.
So, Amanda K. Kelly, this has been fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and we look forward to following you and your progress with your coaching. And we, of course, will have links to everything that is Amanda K. Kelly in the show notes.
Yay.
I just wanted to thank you, Amanda, for being on this episode of Money RX for CRNAs and nurse
And
practitioners.
thank you so much for having me again. Such an honor. Thank you.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. This podcast does not engage in rendering legal, financial, or other professional services.